Okay then, so here we go. So to begin with, I thought we could maybe meet the parents. So this is my setup here. It was revamped about week 3 or week 4, something like that, of lockdown. So I think that's part of the reason that they decided to breed again. So they bred a couple of years ago, but haven't bred for a couple of years since. But sometimes when you do a big tank overhaul, they kind of they're like, oh, this is nice, you know, we're in a really nice tank now, it's got all the mod cons, so they decided to lay some eggs. So this one here, this is the male. So you can see he's quite big. So I measured him the other day and he is about 12 inches long. So he's there, and he's called Murdery because he is, by instinct, one hell of a murdery little sod, to be honest with you. So he's what we would call a wild type. So that's kind of the closest I've got in my collection, at least, to what they would look like in the wild. And then hiding at the back over there she is. That is Axie. So Axie is my original axolotl. So that's the female. She isn't as big. She's only about 9 to 10 inches, somewhere around there. But you'll notice that she's a different colour. So she's a leucistic. So leucistic is black eyes with white skin, pink gills. But really you would say that the only colour that she has in her is in her eyes. So that's why she is called a leucistic. So their tank, like in a nutshell, for anybody who's interested out there, it's quite a heavily planted tank. So I've got 3 big clumps of Java fern. I love Java fern with axolotls. It's just hardy. They don't particularly go to eat it or anything, to be honest with you, but it's just easy. It just keeps it going. It doesn't need much maintenance and that sort of thing. In terms of filters, so I changed my filters up previous to this. Let me just turn you around to get a better view of it. There you go. So they've got a air-fueled sponge filter, which you can see at the back there. So that takes quite a lot in, and I'm trying to grow a Java fern just around it, that middle bit, so that'll look quite nice. They've got a heater in there, but the heater doesn't do very much, to be honest with you. The heater's set at about 18 degrees. It's kind of just as a backup though, just in case they were to get too cold, but about 18, 19 is where they're quite happy at. I've also got, you've got this big tube here. So that's an under gravel filter, which goes under all of this slate at the bottom of it. Washing that slate took me like 4 hours. But we got it in there, it worked. And then I've also got the side, so I've got my big air pump, which is running the systems, the air systems, and I've got a big canister filter with a UV bulb in as well. And actually at the moment I'm quite happy with how it all looks. And then let me just, that's probably a rubbish one to show you. You can kind of just see tucked in there, I've got, let me see, there you go. So I've got some floating plants as well. Different types of duckweed. The main one in there at the moment is a giant furry duckweed, which does quite a good job. But I quite like it because it gives this sort of dappled effect across the tank in there. And yes, I mean, lots of people don't agree with keeping them together. They've never caused each other too much damage. Wonderful fact about axolotls, they can grow limbs back. It's actually how he got his name, Murdery, because occasionally he tries to bite a bit off something that he shouldn't, so hence he got his name. I also do keep a few fish with them. So you've got a plaque down there, and you've got a hill shroom loach at the back, just to try and keep on top of the water and the greenness through to the algae in there. And also they vanish now because I've put the camera on somewhere. There you go, there's one at the back there. That's a Siamese flying fox, I think they're called. So they're an alligator as well. So they're all alligators in there, and they seem to be doing quite well. Okay, so this is how they started life. So they spawned in the tank. So the male axolotl will let out a little sperm package and it'll be deposited around the tank. The female will go around, she will kind of collect those, and then she will lay her eggs. So the eggs look like frog spawn, not sperm, frog spawn, and she attaches them to different things in the tank. So she attached them to quite a lot of the bigger leaves that are in there at the moment. So I just snapped the leaves off and tucked them out. And she also did put some on the filters and that sort of stuff, which getting them off was a little bit tricky. But they're quite strong in their structure, so you can kind of like peel them off things. So that's what they started life in, that tub there. So they were in there, and they had an air stone in there just to keep the water oxygenated, and that's where they were. So then, please nobody judge the state of my house. I know it's a bit thing. So then you come to here and you've got all the wonderful little babies, look. They're very cute at the moment. And in terms of numbers, because somebody requested some statistics, and I am no statistician, and these are estimated numbers because counting something that moves is really difficult in case people haven't tried that before. It's not the easiest thing. So I think I hatched in the region of 154. I've got 137 at the moment. So that's not bad in the grand scheme of things. So they are currently all still living in separate pods, and they are in the different tubs in terms of when they hatched. But in the next couple of weeks, they'll slowly filter out, and the ones that pull through and survive, I'll put into more individual tubs because they get a bit bitey as they grow up a bit. So most of them have been fed today. I'm going to show you how I grow their food in a second. But if I show you the differences, so for example, these three at the back here, these are number ones. See the sort of the size of them. And then some of the last ones that hatched with these over here. You can see the different colours. A few people have asked what colours they'll turn out. I don't know yet, it's a bit too early. I've done a little bit of research into axolotl genetics, and basically at the moment I just don't know. I know that wild type melanoids are dominant, I think, but leucistic is a little bit harder, and obviously it depends. Just because an animal's carrying a dominant gene to display one phenotype doesn't mean that they aren't carrying a recessive gene that they could throw to their offspring. But in a couple of weeks, hopefully I'll be able to do it. So these started hatching on the 15th of last month, and the last ones hatched on the 23rd. I had to help some of the last ones to hatch. They weren't quite strong enough to break out their eggs. That was some of the ones in this tub here. Had to kind of like cut the egg open a little bit using really sharp scissors that were actually from one of my dissection kits, and break them open. But you can see that they've all kind of got different sizes, but the majority of them have now started to develop legs. But it's interesting to see the difference. It's really hard to see on camera, I'm afraid, but you might be able to if it will. It doesn't want to. There you go. You can just see there with that one. You can see just under his gills, he's got his little legs going. It's quite a cute one. And then you've got other ones such as this one here. I'm just going to show you a bunch of them now because they're cute. You can see his little legs there. So some of them, you can see these here, for example, are really good examples. Where it's pink, that's their internal organs you can start to see. So they've been fed some brine shrimp today so far. So you'll be able to see that in their belly. So that's the dark pink stuff. This tub actually needs a bit more food today, which I'm going to show you how I do in a second. So there you go, that's the babies. And then this here is what I'm really worried my neighbours are going to think I'm trying to produce drugs from. So this is my brine shrimp hatchery at the moment. I've got two of them. The other one's just here, look, just on the side. But essentially what this is it's a pot bottle that I've cut, and it's inverted in itself, so the bottom of it's here. It's in a water bath, and wrapped around the bottom of this is a heat cable. And then this is a thermostat. The heat cable is plugged into the thermostat, and then the probe for it just sits above the water, or just into the water at the top, but it's a bit low because I've got the one bottle out at the moment. I then have an air pump here that has a divider on it and is putting air into the water. So basically, I take a litre of water and I add a teaspoon and a half of rock salt, and then I put the air pump in. Usually this pump is actually more at the bottom, just needs a bit of adjusting, it moves occasionally. And then into that I add about a tablespoon of brine shrimp eggs. I can show you the brine shrimp eggs. They're in my fridge at the moment. So you keep them in the fridge, obviously it preserves them. There you go. So that's the brine shrimp eggs I'm using, and it's worked really well actually. So they've got a buffer in them, they've got a salt buffer in them, and they've obviously got the eggs as well. So you add them to it, you give it about 24 hours, and hey presto, you've got baby brine shrimp. Brine shrimp are also called sea monkeys sometimes. And then I've got it in this water bath, like I said, because then I can keep both of them hot at the same time. But I've got them on an alternating day sort of scenario. So I'm going to show you how I feed them. I'm going to feed this little tub here. So what I've got here, this is, I know it looks a bit mean, doesn't it? But this was full of water earlier and had lots of brine shrimp babies in it. And this is the leftover eggs that are in there. But what I've done is I have filtered out the brine shrimp, so you can see them there. So I've just siphoned them out, so the babies, when you stop the air going in, naturally fall to the bottom, like a lot of them have. You can see it's a bit darker at the bottom. And then I've got another empty bottle, very high tech here. And then in here I've got a funnel, and in the funnel I've got a tea bag that I've taken the tea leaves out of, because that's the right sort of thing to filter the babies out. And the key really is in the term brine shrimp. So axolotls are freshwater animals, brine shrimp live in salt water, so you have to find a way to separate them from the salt water. So using my trusty turkey baster, I'll expect all the negative connotations, please. You pick up some baby brine shrimp in their brine, and you filter that through the tea bag. So that's there. And once you've done that, in here, it'll be difficult to see, but all the pinky bits are brine shrimp. So you take your tea bag out. Obviously, I usually do this two-handed, which is easier. You can see them there. And then you just lie it in. The brine shrimp come off. And then they will eventually find them and start to eat them. So baby axolotls in their first few weeks of life will only eat live food. They won't eat anything dead. So it has to be live food. There you go, that one there and that one. So that's when they're moving quickly, that's them snapping at some food they can see. It's all about prey response while they're young. And sometimes they'll make little chain reactions. One will do it, another one will do it, and it'll just go on and on. But they're all going okay at the moment. I'm not expecting to get all 130 or 3 because I think that's unrealistic. I did this a number of years ago, but to be honest, I'm doing better than I did a couple of years ago already. And I am hopeful. But you obviously naturally, when you produce anything to this scale, you get ones that aren't going to do so well. You get like runts and stuff. So there's 2 in here that I'm unsure of at the moment. That's why they're in their separate tub. So they are from number 4. Which is the same as this tub here. Just so you can see the difference in them. So quite a considerable difference. But yeah, you know, I'm giving them a chance. They're on their own. I'm giving them a chance to get to their food now. So they haven't got so much competition. So yeah, I'll leave it at that because I need my other hand now to finish off feeding because it gets really difficult with one hand. If anybody has any questions, let me know and I'll try answer them. Thanks everyone.